I never get out. You know why we're late? I have a cowlick. I couldn't get to lay down. We got in the car and it would not start right in front of my house. So we thought, well, but she finally got it. She drives. This is my wife and Keith. And this is Lori. Did you get to see any of the photographs? Yeah. Lori is the best. I've been around a lot of photographers in 75 years. She's the best because she takes the best pictures. But the other reason is, I never know she's there. I've never seen her take a picture. She stays, I don't know what you do, but you're always invisible. I appreciate that, Lori.
Well, I wanted to say thank you all for coming there. We have some questions for you, and we have a few submitted by the audience as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and
I'm going to be nice. I look like the old banker. If you why is you in the bank? It's the same guy. I never thought I'd grow into that. Isn't that funny? I tell you, if I had known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. There's a lot I'd go back and do over. I got a lot of advice. Are there any white-haired people out there? Oh, so you'll know what I'm talking about when I talk about 1925? Okay. Anybody got a question?
well, I have the questions
Or
here.
did I answer them already?
I have the questions here, and then I have some from the audience as well. And I just wanted to recognize Laura, too, for her work here. And, yeah, so wonderful. And that must be an interesting thing, too, to have Laura, like, there around you, and kind of how do you work that? How are you able to capture all this?
How do I capture them?
Yeah. Here, can you?
I'll take mine. How do I capture them? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, how do you, like let me just tell me what your journey is as a photographer.
You know,
how you ended up with them.
My story from the beginning. Well, basically, it was very happenstance. I was supposed to be photographing a family session on the beach in Malibu, and they had to postpone due to family illness. And I was ready to go, and I had planned to come and see the art show that was happening there at the time. And I was like, oh, should I still go? Malibu's a bit of a drive. So I called up my friend Jerry Ann. Where's Jerry Ann? Jerry Ann! And I said, you want to come to Malibu to see an art show? She's like, sure. So she came along. We started driving, and about 2 minutes into the drive, or a few more, she's like, oh, you forgot the camera. Do you want to turn around? I was like, it's kind of a hassle. So we turned around and we got the camera. We walked into the art show. It was the last 10 minutes of the last day, and there was Dick and Arlene, which I did not expect. And they were busy doing stuff, and I tried to keep out of their way. You know, Dick says he doesn't see me. I went out of their way trying to take photos of the artwork, and I saw them struggling taking cell phone pictures. This is 2015 cell phones, so they're a bit different back then. But I was watching them for a bit, and I'm like, do I say something? I don't want to be rude or anything. I finally said, do you want to just turn the lights a bit better this way? And they're like, oh yeah, that does look better. I'm like, I've got my camera, do you want me to take the pictures? And Arlene was like, okay. So we took the ones that they wanted, and I showed her. She's like, oh, these are good. I said, do you mind if I take a couple extra? I have a couple of ideas. So I took a few more, and they were so lovely to say thank you, lovely to say yes, because they didn't have to say yes. I gave Dick a puppet, and he mugged with the puppet, and I gave him his book. I said, show me all the emotion that a reader can expect in 10 seconds, and he pulled all the faces, and I got these amazing shots. I went home and edited them, and gave them to the Van Dykes, and they said, what are you doing Thursday? Then it's just been a whirlwind of adventure. They've had me document so many things, from like backyard moments to working out through to the Kennedy Center Honors, the Mary Poppins Returns premiere, Dick's incredible jazz concerts all throughout California. It's been an absolute adventure. Family things like
having your life documented, being in the world with someone.
Oh God.
She did all the work.
She did. This is her baby, you guys. This is her baby.
Sorry. When I first met Dick, I knew who he was, but I didn't know anything about him or what he meant to the world. Oh God.
me not to be photographing this right now.
Laura has seen me cry so much. She's just like, you're gonna mess your makeup up.
Sometimes this shot is like, oh, she's like, that's fine. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I met Dick at an award show. So it was like famous people everywhere, you know, and then he had me do his makeup for a job. So it was always like kind of an insulated world where he's the number one on the call sheet, he's around all these other movie stars. So the most impactful thing I saw was we were at the Grove and we were just walking around and this little kid knew who he was, and her reaction to him was just like amazing. And you know, it happens all the time. And so this was like in 2011. And I did his book tour with him, and then I learned all about him. I could answer any question about him now. I'm like a historian, so I remind him about stuff. So I remember back in the when we were doing the My Lucky Life book tour, I thought, well, we gotta film this. I mean, this is like constant. And so I've had people I would do some shooting, but then I was never in the shot. It was never like a genuine, it was just me shooting him. So when I met Laura, 2015, I was doing all these year-long celebrations for his 90th birthday. One of them was a fan art show at the Malibu Playhouse. When I saw the pictures that Laura took, if you saw this gallery that we had like draped this little hut at the Malibu Playhouse, it was really small and it was beautiful. But when I saw the pictures that Laura took, it looked like it was this fancy gallery, huge, and the way she captures her use of light and shadow is like nothing I've ever seen. He's been photographed constantly. But there's something about Laura's pictures that are not only beautiful, but they have an emotional, and they're artistic. And I'm so honored. And she's just been my friend, and we're friends. So I forget she's there. She's just photographing. She's there as my friend, but then she's always photographing. So I'm so proud of you. She's become like my sister, like my family, and she's like my eye. She's become my eye, and she's able to capture all these wonderful moments that I get to experience with him. I mean, it's like our life together is so exceptional, and Laura's there a lot of the times to capture it. So,
Laura, do you have a favorite moment that you've captured?
Oh, there's so many. People ask me that a lot, and I try to tell a different one each time because there's so many. But oh gosh, I mean, for me, one of my favorites was at the Kennedy Center Honors, and I think the reception before the actual bestowing of the medallion.
3 years old, I said, Dick Van Dyke. That's my name now, Dick Van Dyke. So I was going to have this at my house. I'm glad I didn't. I'm sorry, there's not more seating room there.
I have a question here from Howard Cox, who's age 8. He's from Cedro, I could put these on, Washington. He says, what is your favorite character to play?
What was my favorite character?
Yeah.
Well, I always loved Bird, but Rob Petrie I like. I like that. I'm not too slick on his feet, but I figured I'd probably done 1,200 falls on purpose. Now I just fall down.
I have Annabelle Roberts from Glendale says, Mr. Van Dyke, what is the secret to looking so radiant at 98 years young?
I don't know. I think it's your frame of mind, your mood. You don't let your mood go down. I've had such a good life. I can't complain about anything. I've had fun. I've just had fun from the very beginning. Let me say something about this girl. Well, I mean, I never approached a strange woman in my life. I loved the ladies, but I was always scared to death. So I just never... We were backstage at this award show, and she walked by. And I jumped up and said, hi, I'm Dick. I didn't I? Yeah, I just scared her to death. And I said, I'm Dick Van Dyke. She said, were you in Sound of Music or something? But she really didn't know, but she knew who I was, but not what I had done. She had never seen Mary Poppins or something. I really had to educate her. But she's just been, we've been together 12 years now.
Married 12.
Married 12.
2006.
Fooled around before that. I mean, she sings great and she dances, so we do a lot of singing and dancing around the house. Yeah, she's been just a pleasure for me. Miriam Young, I say.
Well, I do have a couple more questions here, if you
I
mind.
just love them. So when I first got to California, the one thing I wanted to do was meet them. And I looked and looked and looked. One day I was looking up a phone number in the Santa Monica phone book, and it Stan Laurel, it said. And I called up and he says, hello. And I told him who I was. My show was on, so he knew who I was. He invited me up to his apartment, and I got to sit and meet him. He said, hello, Dickie. I have pictures of us together. And he said if they ever made a movie of his life, I could do it. And we became friends. But we did Laurel and Hardy once on the Van Dyke show, and he wouldn't come down and coach me. He had a slight limp or something. He didn't want to be seen in public. But anyway, after I did it, I called him up. I said, what do you think? And he gave me a list of mistakes. First of all, he used paper clips for cufflinks, and he took the heels off his shoes to give him that funny stance. I forget everything I did wrong. And then finally, I found out where Buster Keaton lived. And I went to his house and knocked on the door, and he had a very young wife. And she invited me in, and we sat and talked, and I kept seeing Buster walking around out in the yard. And I said, is he coming in? He said, he's very shy. He'll be alone. All of a sudden he walked in, he had on his flat hat and a ukulele. He was saying, oh, Mr. Moon, Moon, Caroline the Moon, won't you shine on me tonight? And we became friends after that. And he had a picnic table out in the back of his yard. And he had a railroad that ran along the fence. And he made the hot dogs in his kitchen, and he'd go toot toot, and the train would carry the food. He was that cute a guy. I got to do the eulogy at both of their funerals. I was very proud of that. The family asked me, because I just adored those guys. I think I was born too late. I should have been born in those days. I love the sound. A little on top of the note, just a little sharp of the note. In doing the album must have taken 3 days, because I always sounded flat. I was singing on key, but she had that, is what gave that ping to her voice. We finally made it. Oh, I loved every minute of that. Every minute of that movie I loved. It's wonderful to make a living of something where you get up in the morning and you can't wait to go to work. I'm so lucky. Hold your head up high and stop crying, start trying, and don't forget to keep your fingers crossed. When you find the joy of living is loving and giving, you'll be there when the winning dice are tossed. A smile is just a frown that's turned upside down, so smile and that frown will defrost. And don't forget to keep your fingers crossed.